in what is known as Babylon the Great, or the U.S., this area, the educational system, is horrible. I found it very interesting that just recently in the, they had an international math competition for high school level students. And the principal, the nation that won that competition was China. The second nation that came in the competition was the U.S., but the entire U.S. team was Chinese. So, family, we can see now, I mean, that there are various areas that have a much higher level of education and other areas that are extremely critically undereducated, and these are the areas that need to be built up across the planet. So with that, family, I'd like to go ahead and yield the call to Dr. Hindu I.L. Henderson, the ad hoc Chief Justice of the Universal World Court. He is Yahushua Mashiach, the Son of Man, the Son of God. Rise and shine, sir.
Why do the nations rage and the people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth, they set themselves, and rulers take counsel together against Yah Allah, God of the universe, and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bonds in pieces and cast their cords from us. He, Father Yah, who sits in the heavens, shall laugh. He, Father Yah, shall hold them in derision, talking about the unrighteous. Then he shall break them, the unrighteous, with his wrath, by speaking to them, and distress them, the unrighteous, in his deep displeasure. Yet he has said already, I have set my king on my holy hill of Zion. I have declared the decree. Yah Allah, God of the universe, has said to me, you are my son. Today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will give you the nations with an S for your inheritance, and the ends with an S of the earth for your possession. You shall break down the unrighteous with a rod of iron. You shall dash down the unrighteous to pieces like a potter's vessel. Now, therefore, be wise, O kings. Be instructed, you judges of the earth. Serve Yah Allah, the only God of the universe, with fear, and rejoice with trembling. Nevertheless, kiss the Son, unless he becomes angry and you perish in the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all those who put their trust in him. Now, I started out by saying that, and at the same time, I want to ask you a question. How do you hear me?
We hear you very clearly, sir.
Outstanding. It's indeed a great pleasure that you're able to answer for everyone, because we know for a fact if we have asked that question to a crowd of people and everyone being afforded an opportunity to be able to answer, there would be those that will still be in opposition of answering the truth. For many of them are listening, but as my brother would say, coming from his would-be bride, they would say that one can listen, but not everyone can hear. For even animals, they can listen, but they don't hear you, based upon the fact they cannot respond in any manner where it will be in a manner where they would be able to show you that they truly understand what you're talking about. Many of them will hear the sound and begin to run because it'll be a fear, not realizing that you're actually calling them to dinner. So that tells you they can't hear. They can listen, but they don't hear because they have no true understanding of what's being said. Thereby, I'm asking the question, can you hear me? Believing that the individuals are able to at least understand what I'm saying, knowing that many are still rejecting the fact that they can't. They will refuse to say, I hear. But the word has already been written, he who has eyes, let him see. And he who has ears, let him hear what the word of Father Yah, the only God of the universe, is saying. We know that there's so many bodies on the planet right now. We're talking about human, mankind bodies that are still in rejection, denial, that they can hear. They just don't want to. They refuse to do so. At the same time, that was a question that I started out with. Which brings me to another question. That question says, how? How long, oh, you sons of men, will you turn my glory to shame? How long will you love worthlessness and seek falsehood? But know that the Father Yah, God of the universe, has set apart for himself him who is godly. Father God, God of the universe, will hear when I call to him. Now, these questions are being asked along with even giving answers, letting you know that just because you want to act as if though you don't hear or that you don't understand or that you don't want to follow the would-be commandments doesn't mean that you're going to get out of them. You know, as I began to listen to the host, I know the host is actually pleading with everyone on the call. She's pleading with people all around the world. She's pleading with people on this universe. I know for a fact, as she began to do it, there's going to be a lot of the body, the people, the humans, that would be mankind that's going to reject what she's saying. They're not going to listen. Thereby, I've said to her many times, over the course now of about 20 years, I've been saying to her, I do not envy her. Because I do believe she has a hard job. I believe that job has been given to her, and she has been, I would say, recruited for it by Father Yah, knowing that her way was going to be hard and doing nothing more than wanting to convince those idiots out there that they need a Savior. Now, along with talking to her, I have been having conversations with people like Pope John Paul II. I had conversations with Benedict XV. And no, I can assure you that the Pope now, Francis, he's like a little uppity within his own would-be realm of believing that he's greater than God, so he's not one too easy to talk to. He believes that by some chance he's going to be able to appeal to all the homosexuals on the planet, and he's going to gain more bodies or more souls than God. He just wants to believe that this time he will outnumber God in having people gather around him to be a rock and roll with the so-called salute of somebody's celebrity. That he believes that by the time God gets around, he would have been driven off in some so-called would-be limousine. Not going to happen. I've already asked him for his blood DNA. He has not yet complied. I need his blood DNA and RNA. He knows. But he kind of already aware that he's not going to have that much of an RNA to give me. Mostly DNA. That tells me that he's of a celestial being. And if he deems that celestial being to be from heaven and that he's some so-called would-be angel of some new God, so be it. Those are the ones my father now making preparations to terminate. Stay with me. I'm just giving him the fact so he can understand that he will not be able to get away from me. I will follow him. I'm even going to go to see him in hell, just so I can make sure that those chains in which we will place on him will not be able to be loosened. Never again. Stay with me. I know people don't like when I say that. I'm not afraid to go to hell. I'm not afraid to go to heaven or hell. Matter of fact, I believe that you have to visit both places. Thereby you would get a true understanding of which one that you would prefer to be in at any given time. Stay with me. I know a lot of you are afraid to go to hell. That's because you know you're not going to be able to get out and come back again, right? I know. I'm not concerned about that. Perhaps maybe there's a chain with your name on it. Maybe you can fashion it and it will wear it around your neck. Who knows? It might be a gold name and the chain just may be silver. Stay with me. Get out of my way. I really don't care. I need you to understand that I have no fear of heaven or hell. No fear whatsoever. But I need you to understand, as I'm asking you now to hear me with understanding, I need you to know that so much is happening right now in this world, this universe. That mankind, yes, you women, you faggots, yes, you gays, you bisexual, you transsexual, I don't care what gender you are. Right now I'm talking to all of you. You're not going to be able to escape it. Just because you decide to go in there and shoot yourself in the would-be so-called midsection and change what's there now, where you can classify yourself a transsexual, believing that you're going to be able to get out of this hellhole of what you're going through right now, not going to happen. I don't care how many times you paint your wig. I don't care how many times you paint your fingernails. I don't care how many times you split your bottom and try to change it for another bottom. You're not going to get out of what's going on. None of it. It's a hellhole that you built. You built this would-be hellhole of a life. You're going to live in it too. I know. They got women over here and men over here. And for the war between the sexes, I would say from the would-be late 60s to the early would-be 80s, it was a fashionable thing to do. You put on a wig. He put on a wig. Now it's the fight. But before that, from the late 60s to the early 80s, it was all about fighting. War of the sexes. One on one side of the tennis court, the other one on the other side of the tennis court. And we got to see who's better, the male or the female. Let's just fight it out. But they realized that the male had an edge. He had an edge. A little bit more strength. Sometimes he was even a little bit faster. And even there were times that he was even able, we would say, to kiss better. Stay with me. Get out of my, I'm not talking about kissing the face. I'm talking about the backside. Stay with me. You'll catch it in a minute. So all these things began to gather up, where the war of the sexes was the greatest would have been competition on the planet. And then somebody decided that we could even have a greater competition if everybody was really confused about what gender they really was, what sex they really was. It could be a greater war. How would you like to have now a competition of nothing more than men versus women in every sport that you have on the planet? That's where they're headed right now. I mean, the war kind of waved itself out in the bed. They realized that most of the time the male was taking the top and the woman was taking the bottom, so they decided, let's have a competition. Got it right. And then they reached a point where, well, when the competition got real stiff and serious, notice I said stiff and serious, she couldn't, well, take the backside. Stay with me. She wasn't doing a whole lot back there, except for facial movement. Stay with me. I'm going to keep it clean, but I need you to understand what's taking place here. So then they decided that it would possibly be better if they were changing their would-be sexual objects. Organs, yeah. Then the fight would probably be a better competition then. You poke him, he poke you, she poke you, she poke you. Stay with me. I'm just giving you the fight. It's the battle. It's called wars. It's called wars, not rumors of wars, but these are the wars in which you have created for yourself. I'm talking to the whole universe. I'm not just talking to Americans. I'm not just talking to the blacks or the whites or the Chinese or the Japanese or the Koreans or the French or the would-be Islam, the Muslims. I'm not just talking to them. I'm talking to everybody on the planet. You know, people are so cruel until they are made up for themselves to be gangsters and pimps and pushers. Yeah, some of them are made up to be themselves to be the greatest actors and the greatest would-be singers on the planet, the greatest rappers. This is all a competition, a battle, man versus man. Man versus woman. Man versus woman versus man versus woman. Man not even knowing if he's woman or man, or if he's man or woman. Yes, I know, it's just all they got. This is what the world has done. It's called confusion and chaos. But this is what you're dealing with right now. That's why I asked the question, why do the nations rage and the people plot a vain thing, them idiots? Why does the kings of the earth and even the rulers, they take counsel together, them idiots, believing that they're going to do nothing more than destroy Yah Allah, God of the universe, and his anointed one, in which he has sent in the final days to warn them that it's not going to happen. I know, but they don't want to believe the truth. They would rather accept the lie than truth. Again, back some many years ago now, I sat on this call, United Nations, and I brought a statement to the people. It was a song written down south, way down south, in what is known as the land of America. One of this artist, he decided to write the song, and the lyrics starts out by saying, you have been asking for the truth. You're asking for the truth, but you have been begging for a lie. So I know it's just fitting that right now the whole entire universe is asking for the truth, but they're really begging for a lie. They want you to tell them something that is not so based upon whatever they're doing. If they're the worst pimps on the planet, they still can't get their whores in line. They want you to tell them they're doing a great job. That's the lie in which they want to hear, not the truth. Stay with me. I know I'm only giving these examples in this manner because I have to get some way that you can recognize what I'm saying. And now, being that we come to people, you sit down, you bring them to the First Baptist Church. The first cathedral. Let me do this. The first temple. Well, wait a minute. I'll keep going if you want to hear all about all of your so-called would-be religious establishments and when you bring people to where you're going to tell them the truth, but they get nothing more than straight lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. No, that's your record. It's just getting kind of one of those things where it gets caught up and it keeps repeating itself over and over. That's the only time you hear that. You sit down and you'll listen to a rap song 20, 30 times in a matter of about 20 minutes. That's about as long as most of the rap songs are anyway, 20, 30 minutes. Oh, they're not that long. Well, I'm giving them credit. Just calm down. But you hear these things over and over again. You hear things like Humpty Dumpty went up the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And then you hear this big booming sound of nothing more than bass that will be thumping in the background. I know you heard those things when you were in kindergarten. I know. That's what the rappers bring you. They're not bringing you anything new. No offense to them. But they're only giving you things you've already heard. Yes, my daddy had a new pair of shoes. And he got them for the baby too. Stay with me. Listen to the bass. Don't listen to my would-be boring rap. Just listen to the bass and the thumping of the drum. That's what got your heart beating. Stay with me. You got to bite. But anyway, United Nations, welcome to the call. This is your call, right? Yeah. Let me go on to tell you, not only are you welcome to this call, but I am going to carry you on an imaginary trip real quick. I need you to imagine that what I'm talking about has everything to do with you. And if not, dispel it. Oh, okay. You already have. Well, anyway, the world right now is in a turmoil of chaos. It's not going to change. Let me help the United States of America out. Prophecy has it that the United States of America is going to end under what would be known as an Oriental power empire. Power empire. Oriental. That's the American would-be prophecy. That's the prophecy for the universe. That the Western world, the Northwestern world, since you want to be in the North as well, the Northwestern world will end under Oriental empire power. Now, I know everybody gets shocked because they start thinking that it's going to be some nation like China. I know. But you have to listen to one thing that you're missing out on. See, the United States of America, best kept secret, wasn't classified as the United States of America at all. And it was once classified to be under 5 unincorporated nations. I need you to be able to visualize this. Remember, I'm carrying you on an imaginary would-be so-called world trip here. But I need you to understand that you got to realize that your imagination is going to come out and turn out to be the reality of truth for this entire world. That's why I say you're asking for the truth, but you're actually begging for a lie because you don't want to hear this. It kind of gets in your way. Right down there in Florida now, they got a bunch of honkies that are following this person that they call DeSantis. Stay with me. I don't care. I don't reference DeSantis. He's not any would-be so-called reference that I need. I'm just telling you the truth. Again, I say a bunch of honkies. I'm down there following him, talking about critical teaching and black history in America. None of those honkies, neither do those niggas truly know the real history. They're not fighting about even teaching the real history. You know why? Because none of them want to accept the real truth of the real history. All of them got their own would-be version of what they believe the history was or is based upon what they were told by their mothers or their fathers. Stay with me. But their mothers and their fathers didn't even know the real history because they were the ones that were classified to be the history makers. Because they wasn't writing history. Neither were they teaching history. They were supposedly, as we would say, living the history. Stay with me. You'll catch it in a minute. For those of you who have the intelligence to be able to understand reasoning, if you don't, you're never going to get it. You walk around an idiot in a Dutch cap for the rest of your life, or sitting in the corner waiting for someone to prick your finger to see if you're really alive. Stay with me. God almighty, they just don't get it. Listen at me. When they're talking about an Oriental power, empire power of empirism, that will come back to the land that is known as the United States of America right now, that's the power it started out from. That's the way it began. The reason I say Oriental, because they keep calling it an Asian power. Asians have never left the United States of America. The Asians have always been there. Asians, not aliens, you idiot. Asians, not aliens. That's the difference. You know, when you start talking about aliens coming from another world, or you being in a land of aliens, that's where America kind of loses their would-be sense of intelligence. They're so stupid, they just don't get it. I don't care about offending America. You got to remember, they tell you right now that the average young person in the United Nations and America, they don't even condone allowing someone to classify them as a patriot. Because none of them want to be patriots. America says that their patriot would-be life is all but gone. Patriotism. They said nobody has this patriotic would-be world of feeling in America anymore. I would tell them don't, because in all actuality, it's illegal anyway, according to Barack Obama and his administration. They signed that if you were part of a patriot group or a group of citizens, based upon being patriots, you would be classified as terrorist. A terrorist. Not a terrorist, but a terrorist. So you have to understand, you don't want to be a terrorist, not in your own would-be land. So which very much, I would say, steer away from being a patriot, or you're going to be classified a terrorist. Well, as George W. Bush, it was on his table, and he refused to sign it because it did say patriot. And George W. Bush knew that at best, he was at least using something called the Patriot missile to protect them, to keep them. To save the country, protect the country. He was using the Patriot missile to protect his country from Islam, from Saudi Arabia, or should we say Iraq, by its real name. Okay. So as we begin to move forward in this history thing, where everyone has to know the truth, America is not so much tuned to wanting everybody to know the truth. It has done so well over 250 years of its own admittance of carrying everybody by this one would-be lie, until they don't want to do any changes right now. It's done well up to this point. How many people can actually brag about being able to benefit from one lie? Well, let me help you out. The Caucasian, Caucasian white people, those that are classified to be white people in America, have benefited off of one lie now for at least their own admittance 250 years. Is that not right? United Nations. And everybody at the United Nations says, yes. Okay, I'm just going to answer for you because that's what they're doing right now. They have benefited off it. It's nonsense. I don't know where your relatives came from. I'm pretty sure, though, you have a book at your house that's handwritten by your great-fathers and your great-great-fathers' fathers, and I'm pretty sure you can read it. It probably says you came from some place like Italy, possibly, maybe France, maybe even Cuba. Say with me, I know your family. Don't make me have to tell the whole world where they're from. I'm pretty sure you can do that yourself. However, you know for a fact that the only thing American about you is that when they made up the word America, you were the first person that they put picture in the book besides the word American. Because you definitely are not from that land in which you're claiming to be American now. America is not even a land. Last time we saw the definition, it was classified as a person or a people that don't exist. Americans, America, Americo. They don't even exist. Never have, never will. That's like talking about the Incas. The Incas don't exist. The Incas never did. I know people getting angry when I say this. But I'm not giving you history. I'm giving you truth. And thereby, you can be angry if you want to. You can reject it. But I'm giving you truth. There are no Incas. No Incas. Incas is a name that was given to a land of Incas, not people. But you gave it the name because you couldn't identify with them. Many of you came out of that family. You still couldn't identify. I know. Now you're having a problem even identifying gender. So who would expect you to be able to identify? I know. Nationality, personality, places, things. You're having problems identifying all of that. Yes. Now you have come to a point where you even sometimes want to call a dog a cat, or you want to change their gender, or you want to speak about those animals that have dual genders, better known as hermaphrodites. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You have never seen those animals sitting around carrying themselves. You don't see them trying to have sex with themselves, do you? A lot of you have spent more time trying to have sex with yourself than those that are classified to be animals that are hermaphrodites. Stay with me. I know. I'm wanting to keep everything clean, but we live in a world of reality of truth, that what you're deeming to be clean is called cover-up. You don't want the truth to come out, so you cover it up. Yeah, you get your holy men and you put them in one place, and they deem themselves never to have swore in their lives. You would think that none of them know what a penis is, because they would not ever speak of it. And if somebody speak of it, they quickly use the word sh, because they don't want anyone else to know that they know how to say penis. I know. Vagina is the last word they're going to use in the church. I know. They say small things like, go check out your would-be makeup, because they don't want to say, go check your vagina out. Stay with me. I'm not attacking you. I just need you to understand the cover-up of the universe and how it's so well covered up. You would think that everyone was on another level, this beautiful level of what you classify to be silence. Silence is golden, one might say. In the world of heaven and hell, silence is the worst thing that you want to happen. See, when our Father becomes silent, everyone begins to run. They just know what's going to come next. Not going to be anything that you might want to be sticking around for. Stay with me. Just giving you the facts. Truth. Remember, we're on the matter of talking about truth right now. So as we go back, the United Nations, to where the whole nations now are already under the acknowledgement of, is that the United States of America is very much in fear now, because this is the year that they're to go under what is known as the Oriental Asian Empire power. And I know just a bunch of land was just bought by some so-called private industry over there in California, just right down the street from Travis Air Force Base, which is known as one of the military big Air Force bases in the United States, California. And it was just bought, and they don't know who this private buyer is, so they believe that the private buyer could be some would-be foreign nation. And they're kind of worried because the foreign nation is getting so close to what is known as the would-be military installation. I need America to hear something coming from me, and I know this will probably set off all of the would-be special agents around the United States and the world. I need them to understand something. Now, since about the year of 1985, foreign nations have been buying up land in the United States of America, if it might be classified that, since 1985. The reason I know that is because we're the sellers. Stay with me. I don't care about you getting angry. I don't care. Because here's the thing else. Listen to me, United Nations, so the rest of the world can understand. Because right now, I know you're not getting angry. America's getting angry, but they need to understand. Here's the thing. You can't tell the owner who they can sell to. You can't tell the owner how to sell to someone. You're right. You don't own anything. Your grandmothers, your grandfathers, your great-grandfathers, they were nothing more than those who had deeds to the land. Deeds. You don't know what a deed is? I know. They didn't either. What I need you to understand, I'm not attacking any of your relatives. I'm not attacking any of them. I need you to understand again, back in the year of 2000, let's just say 1999, I stepped on what would have been known then as a stage of knowledge. And I went out there to do one thing, to teach the whole world about their deeds. I did, the whole world. I went out to teach them. I was teaching at many levels. I was teaching at grade school levels. I was teaching at the university levels. I was going to churches, and I was going to cathedrals and temples and mosques. I was going to all of them, teaching them about their land and about their deeds. And I don't think any of the people, but possibly a few, got it, understood exactly what I was saying. I know. I'm talking about in America. And all the nations, everybody got it. Everybody understood it. Why do you think they're fighting right now? Because they understood it. And America is steadily trying to make peace and keep peace, and we're going to be civilized when they're the dummies of the planet. Because nobody's about to let you just be quiet, not any time much longer. They're about to set you up to a point where they're going to beat you down to the ground. They don't care if you acknowledge the whooping that they're going to put on you or not. You're going to get it regardless. Stay with me. I'm just telling you somewhere if you listen. Now, all of the nations, United Nations, this is your call. Welcome to the call. Rise and shine. Yes, we are. We're still with you. We are the World Global Network, Reset, Restoration Network family. Yes, we are still of the 198 sovereign nations. Yes, we are part of the would-be huge large gathering of the 7 billion people. Yeah, we'll get there. We got more than 7 billion. We already know there's 8.5 billion people. By the year of 2030, we will have 9 billion people. We know that for a fact. No doubt about it. I know people are still dying for you knuckleheads out there that's thinking like that right now. Let me tell you something. That's what makes you so different than everybody else on the planet when it comes down to true intelligence. You think when a person dies, nothing else happens. Do you understand that right now we got about a ratio of about 20 to 1? Every time one person dies on this land in what we call the world, 20 people are born to every one. That's 19 people that's going to be left behind when one gets taken. Stay with me, knucklehead. I know. You think everybody doesn't stop having sex just because you're doing what you call transgendering and believing that you have come to a point where you can make your daughters and sons believe that they're just the opposite. Listen, you knucklehead idiot. When you do that, do you know you got sons lying on the bed giving birth to babies? Because they realized that the sperm that got shot, they were the ones that got infected by it. Stay with me, you knucklehead. Yes, I know. The inside organs are still there, and they still get pregnant. And the best thing you can do is put it on some mobile would-be app of some social media where just because he's now able to grow a mustache and cut his hair in a bob shape that looks like a man, and he's shooting out a baby out his rear end, you want everybody to believe, oh, a man just gave birth to a baby. Give me a break. Sit down and be quiet. Stay with the program. God almighty. Father, you sent me to deal with these people. You sent me to deal with them. United Nations, I know it's not you. I know it's Americans. I know. They just don't get it. They are the ones that are just constantly having me to ask them the question, how long, O you sons of men, will you turn my glory to shame? How long will you love worthlessness and seek falsehood, and seek falsehood, and seek falsehood? You never want to seek the truth. You don't want that. No. You don't want to find truthhood. You'd rather find falsehood. You want to believe that your son, who you know for a fact really can't sing, you want him to believe he's going to become a great singer and a rapper. He still cannot play a note on anybody's musical instrument. He has a problem walking and chewing gum at the same time. Stay with me. I know I'm not going to go off on that tantrum. I know. You don't want to hear that. You just want to believe that you gifted this perfect person on the planet. When you know yourself, you had a problem walking straight and being able to count to 10, and you wasn't drinking. But stay with me anyway. How long, O you sons of men, will you turn my glory to shame? How long will you love worthlessness and seek falsehood? The whole world right now is in a turmoil. You know, America is a nation that loves trying, notice I'm using the word trying to confuse all of the other nations on the planet. Well, let's just see. First of all, they're trying to confuse the nations to believe that for some strange reason that the New World Order still exists. They do. They want everybody to believe that. They printed a story as late as early Rise and Shine today. They printed a story saying nothing more than, will America become now the third New World Order power nation? Let me help you out. The United States of America. Nope, you won't become the new third power of the New World Order because the New World Order don't exist. And if you're believing that you're counting Russia and China as any would-be New World Order power, you got another thing coming. You might want to go back to your think tank because China, neither do Russia claim themselves, neither will they allow themselves to become part of any New World Order because they are also part of the eliminators for the New World Order on this planet. The New World Order started in a little place where one man by the name of Roosevelt from an area he called the United States of America, he started the New World Order. The New World Order was nothing more than a bunch of rich men that he was able to convince that he could give them a place where they could make lucrative businesses out of nothing more than things in which they were going to steal from would-be 5 nations of people, unincorporated nations. He convinced them they were going to be able to do it. And you know, he put those 5 unincorporated nations in such a turmoil, such a chaos state, such a ghetto state that right now their people are still fighting each other. Their people are fighting each other. Their people are going out shooting each other and screaming and hollering. Their people are in a position where they believe that they have to be gangsters and so-called would-be pimps. They have to be gang members. They have to be people who are doing nothing more than killing each other off in order to be able to make $1. All that came about through Roosevelt. All that came about through the Dust Bowl of what we might be classifying as the Greats of the Raft. The Greats of the Raft. That was in 1933 with the Greats of the Raft. The Greats of the Raft. Or the greatest of the raft, if we might call it the way it is in simple terms. That's when the raft began. 1930. Well, thereof, 1929. The Greats of the Raft was already in full motion. By 1930, it became a reality. The Greats of the Raft. That was when they were able to kill off all the real people of the planet. People who were thriving, making friends, making families, nothing more than be proud families. Yes, and Roosevelt decided he was going to take all that away from the people by bringing together what he classified to be a secret group, a secret society of people. No, they was not all white people. Stop it. No, He had some Africans there. He even had some Native Americans at that time, classified to be Indians. He had them sitting there too. And they sold out. They all started smoking, happy weed, they call it, peyote, from the desert. They started all getting high, drinking what was known as would be Ras whiskey. Everybody started drinking Wild Turkey. Yeah, everybody. They started getting all the would-be strong liquors that they could find, tequila. They began to start drinking it all. Stay with me. By the time the party was over with, there were only about 2 or 3 groups that were left. These groups decided they were going to destroy the whole planet of every group that would even try to find itself, manifesting itself to any other would-be so-called system. That's when you began to get all of the serious world wars fight. I know. They were already going on. They just got more serious. So, if I might, United Nations, being that we're on this imaginary trip for the universe right now, I need you to recognize the fact that when they say that there shall be wars and rumors of wars, that's not just going to start now. That started way back in the 1st century. Wars and rumors of wars. I need you to understand that it started back in the garden. Take your imagination. Let's go back. It started in the garden. That were mothers against. You're right, daughters. Because you got to remember Eve of all would-be mothers. She began that anger spell within herself from the beginning. She had a would-be mother there before her. That was the one that was birthed before Eve. Her name was Lydia. I'm just giving you the truth so you understand, so you can stop thinking that Eve was the first woman. No, Lydia was the first woman. And she was the mother of Eve. And there were mothers against daughters and daughters against mothers. See, Eve didn't have a liking for Lydia. And Lydia didn't have a liking for the planet, period, because Lydia had already fought her would-be so-called war against man. Yes. She couldn't stand Adam, and she definitely was not going to lie on her back for it. Stay with me. She was dancing for it, but she wasn't about to lie on her back for it. She refused to. So thereby, she found herself being cast out of the desert into a worse desert, where she was amongst what they classified to be he-she spirits. Gay people. Lots of gay people. Stay with me. I'm just giving you the story. Go ask the Pope. He has the story. He has the books. They're right there on his shelf right now. I'm pretty sure he looks at them from time to time. So every time he has to tell you the lie about Eve and her being one in whom was given to one husband and he being given to one wife, I'm pretty sure it reflects upon him that I'm telling a lie because Lydia was his first wife. I'm sure of that. No doubt. Call him and check for yourself. Don't come get angry with me for giving you the truth. I told you. You have been asking for the truth, but you're begging for a lie. I'm not going to give you the lie. United Nations, stay with me because you know I'm headed somewhere with this. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and go where you want to go there. What I'm getting you to understand right now is America has the world believing that for some strange reason that this world in which they now live in belongs to a white man. Knowing that world that they live in right now has always belonged to those Asian Americans or those Asians that they're now saying going to take the land over. Because they always have had the land. There was always their land. The white man intruded. And it was only, he has to understand, that was given. He was given an opportunity to do that by God. Yes. Yes, because those that were there, they were told they were going to be turned over into their enemy's hand for a time. And after that time, he would come back and he would straighten it out. We're talking about God, Ya Allah. That's what's happening right now. So I'm just here to tell them, just what happened to them, that they were turned over to their enemies. We're talking about the melanated people, the Asian people. Their land was going to be taken. It will be turned over into their enemy's hands. You're their enemy. Regardless of you realizing that you're at a war and about to go into even a deeper war with them. You need to understand that all of this is prophecy. It has nothing to do with the future of your future, but it has everything to do with the prophecy, and that means the future of God, of this universe. That's his future. You're about to go in it. Again, I say, I'm just explaining to you how deeds work. And I told you now, we would say 20 plus years ago, I told you with no doubt that your deed did not give you any authority, any authorization, any jurisdiction in the land in which you so now are residing in and on and around. I told you that. I told you that if you were not the treaty, you did not have the supreme title to the land. I told you that was not the supreme law of the land if you didn't have the treaty. You don't have a treaty, America. Stop it. You don't have a treaty, and you're not going to get a treaty. Because there's only one individual that you can get to sign a treaty for you, and I can assure you that's not going to happen. You don't have what would be known as a treaty. Next comes after treaty is a patent. We know you're not going to get a patent because the patent back then was being signed by presidents of the United States of America. The only reason they were signing the patent because they realized they couldn't do anything to destroy the treaty, which was the supreme title to the land, or the supreme law of the land. And they know they could do nothing. So all they could do was sign the patents, and the patent was actually giving it back to the people and whom they were trying to take it from. Stay with me. Then deeds came along where they would not even be signed by presidents, statesmen, city councilmen, and definitely not white people. Those deeds were being deeded to the white man that he might be able to live on the land, to help the land do nothing more than become a place where it will be beneficial to the whole world. He was going to help build it up, beautify it. He hasn't done that yet. He's done more destruction of the land than he's done anything else. And that's with digging in the lakes. He has killed off all of the would-be wildlife in the lakes. That's along with him going out, cutting down the forests. He has killed all of the wildlife in the forests. Stay with me. That's along with doing nothing more than moving mountains. He has now placed roads there where people lose their lives on it constantly, every would-be day, trying to negotiate those would-be circles and those curves that don't really have to be there. He could have made a straight way, but he decided to put curves and circles there because he deemed that it was going to be so confusing to the people he was building it for until they wouldn't be able to ever take total control over it. How stupid could he have been? They had gone around that mountain for many years, around and around and around in circles to come down. Why did he think there was a trail already there? You idiot. Wow, just don't get it, do you? I know. That's why you never found a trail, because most of them, they dusted. They cleaned before they left. They dusted their trail, so you couldn't find which direction they went in. So you just decided to believe that they went from the old oak trees. Show you how much and how intelligent you really are. I know. United Nations. I'm talking about land right now. I'm talking about treaties, patents, and deeds. I taught this now for 20 plus years. And right now, because it is taking so heavily of an effect, we're not just talking about in America, it's taking effect in Israel, because Israel is not a land that really truly exists. That's why they're having so many protests right now. Everywhere they're going, digging up old would-be archaeology, would-be sites, they realize that the people that are buried there are Palestinians. They are not people that are classified to be Jews, neither are they classified to be people as being Israelis. There's no Israelites there, period, buried nowhere on any of that land. None. The Israelites that went there, they were sent back to America. They took an expedition over. They took an expedition back to America. And that was during the late 60s. Stay with me. I'm just giving you the truth. So you understand why it's so confusing right now for the whole world, and why the world now will be in a world war, not just one, but two and three. World War III will turn out to be nothing more than a battle of Armageddon. I'm just giving them the truth. They don't want to hear it from me, but at the same time, they got all these so-called jackleg scientists out here that's trying to come with their so-called would-be all of a sudden educational guess of some sort of would-be so-called hypothesis that they're going to say exactly what I'm saying, and they're going to get paid for it. No, I don't need pay for that kind of stuff. I didn't come here to get no money. I came here to bring you the truth. I came here to let you know that your money is not going to be worth anything. That's why I'm here. Now, you understand? So let's move forward. So now all about, I know we got those people that don't care. They don't care about dying. I know. That's why they don't need to care about hell. They're going there. And if they don't believe it, you don't have to explain that to them. I say wait until they get there. It ain't like they're going to send you back a telegram or a letter or even a text to tell you I finally made it here. You don't have to worry about that. I know. So don't worry about it. Just let him go ahead and go. And you take care of what you're supposed to be doing. He'll be all right. Who cares if the bottom of hell falls out? It ain't going to have no bottom anyway. It's bottomless. It's in the book. So what if he don't believe it? That's his business. Let him go. Listen, I'm going to do us all a favor while you trying to contemplate on trying to help him and convince him. I'm going to take a break. And when I come back, I'm going to finish what I have to talk about. And I don't care about you trying to save some individual that I know for a fact he's doomed. Meantime, let's take a break.